Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and sort of reviewing the latest EU4 update slash DLC slash expansion EU4 1.36 King of Kings. So here we are on the Paradox forums, and this is sort of the second to latest dev diary, which sort of recaps all the features that will be added in 1.36 along with the free quality of life improvements, the new monuments, new art and stuff like that. And this dev diary also addresses, some issues or some questions that players have. So I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on this recap. Of course, we're not going to be diving too deep into this. I'm sure all of you by now have checked out, the separate dev diaries on all the nations that have been updated, but I'll just be going through the recap right here and giving you my opinion on whether the updates for these nations that are getting updated are good, what is lacking, what is good, what is bad, and basically giving you my opinion on this. So without further ado, let's jump right into this Persia recap right here, and we'll go through this. While not a starting nation in 1444, Persia can be a powerful player on the world stage when formed. Now, Persia is one of my favorite countries in the game, right? Top 5 for sure. I've played Persia so many times, starting with so many different nations, going Sunni, going Shia, going Zoroastrian, and I'm so happy that Persia is finally getting updated after such a long time. So I'm definitely super excited about the updates, specific to Persia. During the early modern period, it was historically unified by the Safavids from Ardabil, so we've made this a more attractive path in the game with more content and flavor around the historical outcome. However, this is not the only path to a unified Persia. Each of the nations featured in this DLC will come packed with its own unique twist through various unique government reforms, and the religious path to pick will also reflect different gameplay and flavor options. Now, obviously, I've done some guides for Persia in the past. Ajam used to be the easiest nation to sort of form Persia with, and we'll see if this changes, of course, in this latest update after we do a little bit of playing. But I'm super glad that Ardabil specifically is also getting updated, because they were the nations that historically formed Persia, so it does make sense that they would receive the most flavor for any nation attempting or even forming Persia. The new mission tree for Persia with 116 missions, which is honestly a lot more than I thought there'd be. 77 common missions, of course. Forming Persia as any nation gives you these missions. 31 missions depending on religion, Sunni, Shia, or Zoroastrian. Of course, those are, the most common ones. I do think Shiite should be the most focused on right here. We'll see if it is, but I'm glad there's separate flavors for Sunni and, of course, the fan favorite Zoroastrian. And then 8 missions depending on origin, Ardabil or the post-Timurid nations or Mazandrani nations and stuff like that. And there's a new mission tree specific to Ardabil with 12 missions, which of course sort of helps you kickstart the campaign as Ardabil without giving you too much, too powerful missions later on, which of course you would get as Persia. Then we got 2 new government mechanics, Persian influence for Muslim Persia and the 3 royal fires for a Zoroastrian one. This is excellent. I do love unique government types, unique government mechanics. The Ikta abilities were the most powerful one for Shia Persia or whatever, but I'm glad these are being added right here. 2 new estates for Persia, these that I'm not going to try and pronounce. Of course, new estates, unique estates is always nice. That has been sort of the focus since domination. 20 new estate privileges. I don't know if anyone focuses on these too much, but I'm sure we'll get some powerful ones and some detrimental ones as well. 6 new government reforms, like I mentioned over here. Awesome. I love unique government reforms, and special units are always appreciated, something that has been focused on since Lions of the North, and they can be recruited as either infantry or cavalry, which is awesome. 16 new events, of course, we're not going to get too much into this, and even more additional Diplo actions, subjects type CBs, and local organizations. So super satisfied with the update that Persia received right here, and I do think it is going to be a great update for any nation starting as Persia, forming Persia, and then playing them pretty much in any way you want. There's going to be so many variations of Persia in this latest update. Then we move on to the Mamluks, another one of my favorite nations, but the Mamluks I love even more than Persia. They're definitely in my top 3 nations in the game, along with Austria and Florence. Our realm facing a turbulent period, encroached on all sides by enemies wishing to claim Cairo as their own. The Mamluk Sultanate is slated to experience troubles with their northern territories and the growing power of the Ottomans. Embark on an epic journey to rewrite history, vanquish your foes, and experience brand new flavor for one of the strongest starting Muslim nations. I do agree with this last line specifically the most. In my opinion, the Mamluks are probably the top 3 strongest starting nations in the game, more powerful than the Ottomans at the start. Of course, it used to be prior to this patch. We'll see if that is still the case. Can you still, defeat the Ottomans right off the bat as the Mamluks expand so rapidly, mainly through vassalization? you know, the ability to diplo-vassalize so many of the small nations in Arabia, in the Maghreb, you know, in the Horn of Africa, in the Mashriq region. That's really something underappreciated as the Mamluks. So I do think we'll have to see if that's still the possibility. A new mission tree for the Mamluks with 39 missions, a little smaller compared to, well, actually a lot smaller than Persia, but you know, I'm still satisfied. Maybe 60-ish would have been the real sweet spot, but I'm sure these missions have been tailored specifically for the Mamluks with very careful planning. We got the new mechanic Egyptian westernization. I'm sure you guys already know a lot about that, either by forming Egypt or through the Mamluk mission tree or independently as another nation. 7 new government reforms, which are going to be super sweet. Once again, always a fan of unique government reforms. Estate privileges, 1 new holy order, naval doctrines, 4 new naval doctrines for the Mamluks, which is absolutely insane. No other nation has this many naval doctrines. Any other nation, you know, gets 1 bonus one, but the galleys, the light ships, the warships, the transports, everything is super nice here, which will make naval gameplay as the Mamluks, which is, as you know, very important, even more fun. A special unit, which is the Mamluks, 16 new events, hireable mercenaries, diplo actions, the state agendas, and you know the rest. And of course, there will be lots of turbulent events that will rock your nation right at the start that you will need to learn how to deal with. So I do think that this may make the Mamluks slightly more of a difficult start, but of course we'll see as we play, but it's definitely going to be way more fun. Now, moving on to Byzantium, and this may be a controversial opinion that I'm gonna state right here. I haven't really seen anyone say this, but why is Byzantium getting updated in this DLC? I feel like it's maybe sort of an afterthought, or to throw it in there to satisfy, you know, all the Byzanti boos or something like that. But in my opinion, even though I'm super happy that Biz is getting updated and everything that's getting added for it is great, I don't really think it fits in this update. Honestly, I think this would have been better for a completely different DLC or, you know, expansion or update or whatever. But yeah, even though everything that's being added for them is great, I don't really think it fits. Either way, the Purple Phoenix shall rise again and reclaim not only Byzantium, but the Roman Empire itself. The powers of the West and East proclaim that our era has been over long ago. Defeat them and reclaim our historical rights. Now, I'm sure everyone knows by now that Biz is most likely gonna have a way more difficult start right at the beginning with the various, you know, estate privileges or what you want to call it that have been granted that you need to get rid of. Even though Biz does receive an additional province, you know, that Bulgarian core right there just above Constantinople, you know, you start off with weak navies, you start off with low morale, low discipline, whatnot. So you do have to get rid of those modifiers before you fight the Ottomans. I think maybe not all of them, maybe some of them. But yeah, Byzantium is definitely going to have a starting strategy, and we're about to see a lot of Byzantium guides over on YouTube. Get that Byzantium guide money, you know what I'm saying? Even from me, I'm probably not going to do a Byzantium guide right away, since I do have a few nations left over from the 135 update that I'm going to do guides on here. But yeah, you should see a Biz guide from me by the end of the year. Probably not right away after the DLC drops, though. New Biz mission tree with 55 missions, and once again, I'm surprised these guys are getting updated, since, you know, they were slightly updated in Emperor as well, but no big deal about that. Government reforms is excellent. Estate privileges is excellent. The events and the decisions, you know, the flavor really for Biz here is going to be really nice. The new subject type Pronoia, which I'm going to reserve my opinion on that until I play and then give you my opinion on it. Not too sure right now. And new decisions and mercs is awesome as well. So mostly great flavor for Byzantium. Harder start, but once again, let me reiterate, not sure if it fits in this update. Then, of course, finally, the long-awaited flavor update for Arabia. Arabia was one of the worst formable nations. You literally got nothing out of it except a name and a color change. No unique government, no unique ideas, no unique missions. It was pretty much a worthless nation to form unless you're going for that achievement or something like that. But I'm glad that it's finally getting slightly updated. New mission tree. 34 missions for Arabian miners, making it possible to form Arabia using the mission tree. Yes, that's excellent. Estate privilege, Oasis development. This is actually pretty strong. New events and a new CB spread Islam and a new decision for Arabia. So pretty awesome right here. It's definitely going to be worth it to form Arabia, I feel like, right now with most nations, although with some, you'd still want to keep their national ideas. More on that later, maybe for nations such as Najd, for example. Then we have Yemen right here, slight update for them. Now, I find this one a little bit weird, right? Yemen wasn't really a dominant player during this time frame from what I've heard. A lot of people were expecting updates to like Oman or Hormuz or Najd or something like that, maybe even Medina instead of Yemen. So this is once again kind of a weird one for me, but I'm glad that Yemen is getting updated. Super strong nation, by the way. Start off with cores on some of these other guys. Really nice ideas as well. The ability to expand in a couple of different directions. And I think the new mission tree with 26 missions and 5 extra missions for the overseas, which is a really strong start, it's going to make it super fun. The estate privilege monopoly on coffee is pretty good, even though I never use monopolies and new events, so that's pretty good. I don't have a really strong opinion on this. I just think that, you know, if Yemen is included, why aren't some of the other smallish guys around as well? Then we got Georgia right here. I once again did not expect any of these guys to be featured right here in the Caucasus. I thought this would be a different DLC, but I'm glad that they have been included over here. The situation in the Kingdom of Georgia is dire. Yes, it is. Internal struggles are common. Blah, blah, blah. A new mission tree for Georgia and the other, you know, fracture states from Georgia or whatever you want to call it. Of course, Emirati and those guys don't exist no more, but 30 missions. Really, you know, sort of the sweet spot, I feel like, for this region right here. A new disaster, the Georgian crisis. This is going to be tough to navigate for sure. Highland fortifications. This estate privilege is going to be excellent. New events and a new Georgian culture, a new setup for Georgian area in the base game, which is free, by the way. So the new starting situation is different right there, but I do think it's going to be a lot more fun than it is right now, and I'm so happy that you know, at least some of these Caucasian nations are finally getting updated. Then once again in this region we have Armenia, which is also super nice. 30 missions in total, new gov reforms, new events, and I do think this is definitely going to be a really tough start once again, but then once you become Armenia or form it or whatever, I think it's going to be the payoff is going to be amazing, and it's going to be super fun. You guys know that I love playing super difficult nations like this, so I'm definitely excited a lot for this region right here specifically, and I'm definitely looking forward to playing some releasables now over in this region, or maybe even getting around to these nations in A to Z or doing guys for them. Then once again, a very cool update right here going through the Turkomen, which is Akkuyunlu and Karakoyunlu. I did expect these guys to be updated, and I'm so happy that they're getting updated. Very underrated nations in my opinion. I'm kind of sad I don't get to play them more often, but you guys will definitely be seeing guides from me for both Akkuyunlu and Karakoyunlu. Both of these guys receive around 30 missions. They can access the Janissaries and the Pashas through their mission tree, and the new government reform, the Turkomen Ottoman institutions, is excellent, along with the estate privileges, Emirs of Baghdad, and great works of Iran. The new events, the new Turco-Iranian culture in the base game, which once again is free, is going to be awesome. And then again, all of these nations that I've mentioned so far are going to be getting new monuments, which I am going to get through that later, but super happy that these guys are getting updated as well. So, all in all, you know, the major nations, super happy with Persia. The Mamluks could have gotten a little more missions. Happy with Byzantium, but not sure why they're included in this update. Arabia is great. Yemen is weird without including some other small guys. And then Georgia, Armenia, and the Turkomen are excellent as well. Then, you know, flavor content, new units price for a bunch of nations right here. New music, that's always great. Not too much of an opinion on this. So, yeah, everyone enjoy this content. What else do you want me to say from that? Now, going over to some of the other stuff I wanted to address right here, this basically, the dev diary addresses the questions and the concerns that the players had. So our benchmark for King of Kings was Lions of the North. Now, this was pretty expected, at least for me. However, I don't think it was expected for a lot of players. Now, before COVID, there was usually one big update a year for Europa Universalis. Think like, you know, like Domination, for example, and then there was another smaller update later in the year, just like this, King of Kings, for example. So a lot of people aren't happy that, whoa, this isn't as big as Domination. Why aren't more nations getting updated? And even I feel that slightly, but I understand it more than the regular player, I would say. And of course, since we had Domination at the start of the year, a big update, now at the end of the year, we have a smaller update. So that's how it should work, and that's how it is generally going to work from now on. So expect the next update after this to be bigger, more in the style of Domination, then the next one after that will be more in this style with smaller focus and stuff like that. And once again, this is another concern on the design direction. A lot of you have pointed out that there are a few countries that are much loved by the community that are not receiving content in this DLC, and I had this concern as well, but thankfully this has been addressed in a very nice way. So for example, a lot of people, you know, were thinking, you know, this region is getting updated, we're for sure getting stuff for the Timurids, for the Timurid vassals, for the Mughals, you know, maybe for the Central Asian hordes. Lots of questions on Hizn Kaifa, Orman, and Hormuz, just like I thought, and then Trebizond and Theodoro, for example. So yeah, these are pretty much all the nations that people, including me, thought were going to get updated, but they're not. And I'm super happy to see here from the devs that I'm allowed to tell you that many of these are likely to receive content in 2024, as we're already planning our pipeline for the year. Therefore, King of Kings 1.36 won't be the last opportunity for them to get content. Also, these aren't the only countries that will receive content in 2024, but I'm not yet allowed to further discuss our future plans, I'm sorry to say. You know, this is something that I'm very, very happy to hear and very appreciative of the devs for letting us know. You know, what I thought, and actually what a lot of other people thought as well, is that this update was going to be the second to last update to EU4 period. It was going to be the Middle East, and then I personally thought it was going to be South America, you know, the Incan guys and stuff like that, maybe the Central American guys as well, and then a few other countries around the world, a little forgotten regions. Maybe we're gonna get a mission tree or, you know, some flavor or something like that. But according to this, man, this isn't the second to last DLC for EU4, right? If all of these guys are getting updated, which is confirmed, which is basically like Central Asia, you know, the Persia, Central Asia, and, you know, some of these other smaller guys maybe as well, we're definitely gonna get another pack or expansion that focuses on these guys. But I don't think it'll be just for these guys. I think other nations will be included here as well. And then I think we're still gonna get the South America, Central America pack. So, you know, with these guys getting updated, with South America getting updated, it's opened up, you know, Pandora's box or whatever for a lot of other countries to get updated as well. For example, the nations in the Balkans specifically is what I've heard a lot about. But then again, if you're going through those guys and these guys are, you know, is Paradox going to revisit India again? Sure, Dharma is one of the most recent updates, but, you know, could other flavor be added over there? After going through these guys, through the Balkans, through South and Central America, and maybe India, I'll keep this finger half up, I think that's pretty much it. So even though I'm super happy it's not going to be just the Middle East, basically this update, and then South America, I'm left wondering which other nations will receive updates as well, which region isn't fully fleshed out. I feel like everything in Europe is pretty much done, except for the Balkans, if I'm being honest. Everything in Asia is pretty much done, except for these guys, and then, you know, maybe India, I'll leave that on a maybe. Africa, you know, just got done with Origins. North America got revamped pretty recently. East Asia got revamped in Domination. So, you know, I'm expecting 2 more big DLCs, and then 2 more small expansion packs, just like this one. And then I think that's gonna be it. You know, I was thinking 2025 for EU5, honestly, but it may be a little later than that, 2026. The devs, of course, haven't confirmed anything. They never will. I'm sure it is being worked on. No one has told me that, but lots of people are sure. I'm sure as well. So we'll see what the future holds, but I'm excited that other countries are also going to get updated during 2024. I think we'll see the final update for EU4 arrive in 2025, and of course I'll be sad to see it go because, well, I'm not that confident on EU5. How confident can you be after seeing the release of CK, Victoria, and even City Skylines now? So, you know, it's a completely different team. The only thing I'm hoping for is that the UI up there, the notifications stay the same. More on that later. And that we don't get the zoom in from political to terrain, which honestly hurts my eyes. Let's move on. Now let's move on to the quality of life and UI improvements, which honestly have me so excited. Maybe even more excited than some of these updates that the nations are getting. So moving on with the first one right here, you can actually transfer control of multiple provinces by shift clicking on the provinces and transferring them to another war participant. This is so good. You know, sometimes when you're struggling with cash, you want to transfer occupation of forts to your subjects so they can actually pay for them. This is perfect. Just boom, 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 boom. Click on all the forts, transfer them. And another area that this is going to be super useful in is a world conquest where you're focusing on vassal feeding. Specifically, Austria comes to mind right here. You know, instead of going province to province to province, so you can just transfer them over to your subjects in order to peace out. This is going to be super useful. Just click on all of them, give them all to one vassal that you're planning on feeding, and boom, that's that. So this, honestly, I love it. It's been a long time coming. Finally something like this added to the game. And this is honestly the best thing that has been added to EU4 since it has been released. 10 years later, we're finally getting automatic missionaries, and no more, clicking that thing up there, every 6 months when you're doing a one faith world conquest or whatever. You just assign these missionaries to be automatic and they auto convert everything. Once again, for a world conquest playthrough, a one faith playthrough, both of these features are so amazing, and I'm so glad that these automations are sort of being added to EU4, because you guys know that in the late game, micro gets so tedious. So sure, in the early game, I don't mind clicking, province by province, transferring them to subjects when I'm occupying a 5-province nation, or converting provinces when you have only 3 provinces to convert. But for a massive scale, this is going to be so useful. And finally, new alerts. I've been waiting for these for so long. You can upgrade centers of trade. I love doing this. I always mention the guys that you should be doing it, of course, and in pretty much all my videos, but finally it's telling you which centers of trade you can upgrade, and it's even giving you a pop-up for that. So super excited about that. Then it'll tell you estate edicts, which have been active for a long time, which is so useful for saving money. You can seize land, you can sell titles, and there's lots of other estate pop-ups right here that are super welcome. And sticking to this area right here, the EU4 UI, which is something I'm super passionate about. Now, if you ask many players in the Paradox community, I feel like which Paradox game has the best UI slash tooltips slash pop-ups and stuff like that, I'm sure that about 80 or 85% of the players will tell you that EU4 has the best UI. Now, let's be real, the notification system on Crusader Kings and on Victoria is how do I put this, absolute garbage. I don't want to look at that stuff. I don't want to play those games with that. What's up with that pop-up with numbers on it? Why do I need to click on stuff 2 or 3 times to know what I need to do, instead of just hovering over it and not even clicking it so it tells me what I need to do? Now, obviously, those games are newer, and I'm 90% sure that EU5 is going to have the same exact design direction or whatever, a sort of macro design, if you will, focused on all the games. But this is the best UI in any Paradox game, and unfortunately, I'm sad that it's probably going to go away in EU5, because even though such a large portion of the player base feels so passionately about this UI and that it's actually so good, the devs don't agree. The devs don't agree. Even Johan, for example, does not like this UI. Now, I'm sort of looking at this through 2 ways, right? People that are passionate about, let's say, I don't know, watches or something like that, or watchmakers, or, watch collectors or stuff like that. They'll tell you, oh, well, I'm the expert on this, and as you all know, you need to wear a watch on your left hand, right? That is the way it's supposed to be done. But lots of people, they wear their watch on their right hand, man. They're lefties or something like that. If you got a smartwatch, you could flip it so you can, control it with your left hand or something like that. Let's say it's something like that, and let's say, most people wear watches on their right hand, which of course they don't, but for the sake of the argument, and then the experts or the professionals or the connoisseurs tell you this is the way it's supposed to be done. So that's what I feel like the devs are thinking here. This is not the way it's supposed to be done. It's supposed to be done like Crusader Kings or Victoria 3, even though this may be objectively better. So there's my little rant on the EU4 UI and on the UI of other games. Don't like it on other games, love it on EU4. Am I biased because I only play EU4? Yes, but I think if you ask only CK players or only Victoria players as well, they will tell you that the EU4 UI is superior in every way. Then let's move on with some other UI changes right here. You can sort by the giver of the province or whatever right here. The spreadsheets enthusiast finally giving you dev in the pie charts over here, which is super nice. And finally, something I've also been wanting for such a long time, you can actually once again merge mercs with regular armies, instead of getting all your armies in one province, then selecting them, then clicking away the merc companies, then merging armies or something like that. This is very welcome. And another very welcome change, you can sort provinces by decreasing or increasing autonomy, whichever one you can do, which is something super useful. When you're blobbing out massively, instead of just scrolling through this, trying to see which provinces you can decrease autonomy with, this is going to be super helpful. And of course, This is another welcome change as well. For example, if the building slots have been filled out in a certain province, instead of going to that province, deleting the building, then going back and building a building, if you just select a building and then, right click it, it'll sort of replace that certain building, which is of course very, very welcome. And that's about it for the UI changes. I welcome all of them. I love all of them. Very nice macro and quality of life improvements right here. And I'm super, super happy about all the pop-ups, and especially the missionary and, the transfer occupation things. Now the only thing we're lacking is assigning control of your armies to the UI, basically. Make your armies act like vassal armies, make them more autonomous, which is going to be super, super useful for late game wars, I feel like. Then finally, let's go through some of the monuments right here. I'll tell you if they're good or not. In my opinion, of course, that's subjective, not objective. We got the Golistan Palace in Tehran right here, Diplorep and Monthly Splendor at tier 3, which is not that powerful, but it's pretty good. Persian Influence will be pretty good if you have that active as well. Then we have the Al-Azhar University in Cairo, Institution Spread Advisors, Idea Discounts. Once again, more playing tall bonus monuments added to the Mamluk region, which is super, super nice. I love it. And as we can see, the pyramids have been rebalanced, in order not to give the same things pretty much. But once again, very nice. Then we have the city of Sana'a in Sana'a, local trade power merchants. This is more, trade focused and stuff like that. Very nice. The tomb of Shahrukh El-Lam in Multan is very nice. Tolerance of true faith, opinion of heretics, and this is pretty good too. Once again, not too relevant for most campaigns. Then we have the Nizwa fort in Nizwa. Max absolutism, once again, is very nice, and max privileges per estate is good as well. Then we got this one right here in Kiva, which is once again trade focused, super nice. This thing over in Georgia, which obviously is very good for defensiveness, so even more defensiveness for one of the most defensive nations in the game. Then we have the Kazan Kremlin in Kazan, which is super nice as well. The autonomy change and the great project upgrade time is really good. So this could be some of the first monument that you need to take in a very expansion focused playthrough, so you can get other ones for cheaper. And that's about it for this recap dev diary. I've told you the opinion on most of the things over here, briefly. We didn't go too in depth into some of the, nation specific things. Of course, I don't really have time to go through each dev diary based on the way my schedule is. I did used to review dev diaries earlier on when I started the channel. They just don't really fit into the type of content I make right now. And that's about it for this one. Let's just go through the achievements real quick that I've just dropped yesterday, I think. And, then we'll wrap it up. And finally, let's run through the art right here. This loading screen is excellent. The UI art and whatnot and the events and stuff like that. That's awesome. But what I really want to get down to, and of course you guys can take a look at the unit models if you're really into these sort of things. They do look pretty cool, but I'm just going to skip right through them and go to the achievements. We got King of Kings, complete the Persian mission tree. Awesome achievement. Always love these complete the mission tree achievements. I don't think it should be too difficult. It is going to take you a while though. Restore the Pentarchy, starting as Biz, own Rome, Constantinople, Alexandria, Antioch, and Jerusalem. Pretty good one right here. Shouldn't be too difficult. As Karabakh, own core and convert to Coptic, the borders of Great Armenia. That should be super fun as well. This desert power right here is also gonna take a long-ish time, but shouldn't be too difficult. This Mamluks one is super fun as well. Starting as Biz, control Venice. You're gonna do this anyway, so this is a pretty good one too. Not really any impossible ones so far. Starting as AQ or QQ, have a royal marriage and an alliance with Ramazan. Of course, this is super easy right here. As Georgia, have Genoa, Aragon, England, and Trier as vassals while controlling Wales. This is the most impossible one so far over here, so I'm definitely excited to see which one of you guys is going to do this first. And of course, starting as Austria, convert to Zoroastrianism is going to be really difficult here. So really nice achievements being added here, and of course a little comic by Father Loris down here, which is always a nice treat. But yeah, there you go. That's my opinion on sort of the recap of this entire DLC. I can confirm that I do have access to it. Most content creators do usually. You guys already know that, but I have not played it yet. By the time you see this video, actually, I probably will have played it, but as of recording right now on October 25th, I have not played it yet, but I will be jumping into it pretty soon, and I'm pretty excited, and I think that you guys are. So yeah, I think this is definitely going to be a great update, a great DLC, and I'm excited to try it out. And let me know in the comments below what's your opinion on everything that is about to be featured in 1.36, and of course let me know as well if you want to see more videos like this where we go over updates and stuff like that. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like. It really helps out a lot. And if you like the content and want to see more videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on any of them. And you can become a member today and join the Discord. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.